This tale is a work of historical fiction and horror. It is not to be taken as fact. Viewer discretion is advised. Submitted for your approval. December 1776, the American Revolution falters. General George Washington's ragtag Continental Army has lost battle after battle and reels from relentless retreat. Facing a winter of despair, low morale, and an enemy of superior might, Washington needs nothing short of a miracle. British soldiers at this time rank among the best in the world, thoroughly trained professionals, while they dismiss Washington's men as inexperienced amateurs. History records that Washington made a daring gamble on Christmas night, crossing the icy Delaware River to strike the Hessian mercenaries at Trenton. But history doesn't record how fate tilted in his favor. In our tale, an unlikely ally emerges in the colonial camp, an old enslaved woman, nameless to history, who holds otherworldly powers. Tonight, General Washington's revolution will find salvation from a witch's dark bargain, and the newborn United States will inherit a curse from beyond the veil. Washington stands apart from his shivering troops on the Pennsylvania shore of the Delaware River, boots crunching on snow. The fate of the revolution weighs heavy on his shoulders. By dawn, many of his soldiers' enlistments will expire. If they go home, the cause is lost. Across the river in New Jersey, the British allied Hessians celebrate Christmas in occupied Trenton, confident no attack will come in this ferocious winter. Washington clenches his frost-numbed fists and exhales, watching his breath ghost in the frigid air. He has devised a desperate plan to cross the river under night's cover and surprise the enemy at daybreak. But the weather is turning cruel. A nor'easter is brewing, winds whipping, icy sleet needling the skin. The river swells with treacherous chunks of ice. No boat can cross in this storm, his officers warn. The general's heart sinks. Without this surprise attack, the revolution may not live to see the new year. In the flickering firelight of a canvas tent, a shadow moves. The hunched silhouette of Old Bess, a camp follower and former slave who has lived among the soldiers. Many dismiss her as a harmless cook or washerwoman, but some whisper that Old Bess has the sight, that she carries African conjuring wisdom in her ancient bones. Tonight, as wind howls and snow pelts the tents, Washington seeks her out in desperation. He finds the old woman crouched over a small iron cauldron, murmuring in a language he doesn't recognize. Dried herbs and small bones rattle in her trembling hands. Washington's rational mind rebels at the thought. Is he really considering asking help from a witch? But the lamplight reveals determination in her milky eyes. Before he speaks, Old Bess rasps, "I know why you've come, General." She traces a sigil in ash on the ground. "You want victory," she whispers. Washington, ever the stoic leader, hesitates, then gives a curt nod. Outside, a gust of wind slaps the tent. "I can help you cross that river. I can blind the enemy and deliver you a triumph no one will believe," Bess says, voice low and eerily calm. "But General, dark magic exacts a price." Washington's face hardens. He is a God-fearing man, yet for his fledgling country, he is willing to risk damnation. He recalls the many prayers he uttered at Valley Forge and the silence that answered. Now perhaps Providence offers a different path. "What do you require?" he asks. Old Bess closes her eyes and seems to age another 100 years in an instant. "A blood price," she finally says. "The curse will come due in time. Not tonight, but years from now. Your people will pay." Washington's jaw sets. To save the revolution, he will pay any price. He does not ask whose blood or when the debt will fall due. In that moment, victory is all that matters. "Do it," he commands. Old Bess's gnarled fingers pluck a rag doll from her satchel, a crude effigy of a British redcoat. She bites her thumb until blood wells up and drips onto the doll, then tosses it into the cauldron. The flames sputter green. Outside, as if on cue, the winter storm intensifies. A violent storm of rain, sleet, and snow lashes the camp. Soldiers mutter prayers and curse the weather. But Washington allows himself a grim, secret hope. Hours later, near midnight, Washington's army begins its perilous crossing of the Delaware. The wind screamed so fiercely that officers must shout to be heard. Men strain to row Durham boats across the ice-choked river. Oars groan, and icy water splashes their rag-wrapped hands. Sleet mixes with snow, slashing at their faces like frozen daggers. It's an infernal night. Yet unbeknownst to the men, this hellish weather is their salvation. The howling storm muffles the sound of their crossing. On the far shore, Hessian sentries peer into darkness, unable to see the invaders creeping toward them under nature's furious cover. By 3 a.m., miraculously, all 2,400 Patriot soldiers and their horses, cannons, and wagons have made it across. They are behind schedule, dawn is approaching, but they press on through the tempest. Old Bess stands at the riverbank, the now empty cauldron at her feet, lips moving in silent incantation as the last boat lands. With each step, the Continental Army marches toward Trenton. She whispers an invocation. Fog slithers in from the river, joining the sleet to cloak their movements. Later, some soldiers will swear that a phantom army marched alongside them, shadows flitting between trees, spectral figures that moved ahead to scout the road. Others report hearing an eerie whispering song under the wind's howl, like a woman's voice carried on the gale. Washington's men arrive just outside Trenton as dawn's pale light filters through snow. The Hessian camp stirs, groggy from Christmas revelry. Unaware death marches upon them. At approximately 8 a.m. on December 26, 1776, Washington's soldiers explode into the streets of Trenton. Bayonets gleam as they storm the Hessian quarters. Muskets crack and smoke fills the icy air. The Hessians, caught utterly off guard in the swirling blizzard, scramble to muster a defense. Their commander, Colonel Rall, rushes out, half-dressed, only to be shot from his horse in the chaos. Bewildered German mercenaries find patriots charging from every direction. One later wrote that the Americans seemed to appear out of the snow itself. Indeed, the pounding sleet and blowing snow have concealed the Patriots' approach until the very last moment. The Hessians are completely unprepared to fight in such vicious cold and at such an early hour. Washington, sword raised, personally leads the assault through the town, and the Hessian resistance crumbles within an hour. It is a stunning victory. Not a single American life is lost in the battle, and nearly 1,000 Hessians are captured. Yet, amid the celebration, one figure is forgotten. Old Bess stands alone at the edge of the abandoned Hessian camp. No one saw how she slipped into Trenton behind the troops. By the first light of morning, she is trudging through the snow among fallen Hessian soldiers. With a strange tenderness, the old woman dips her fingers in the blood staining the snow, chanting softly in an old tongue. She traces a symbol, the same sigil from her cauldron ritual, onto the foreheads of several dead men. Her eyes roll back as if in a trance. For a moment, the wind dies and an unnatural hush falls on the battlefield. Then, a Hessian corpse shudders. Another corpse's hand twitches, grasping at the air. Old Bess watches without expression as dozens of dead Hessian eyes snap open, cloudy and unseeing. Washington's victory came so quickly that many of the Hessians died with disbelief frozen on their faces. Now those faces stir. A rasping collective moan emanates from bluish lips. But Bess raises her hand, and the dead Hessians fall silent and still once more. Mere lifeless corpses once again. Whatever restless spirits she momentarily stirred, she has now bound to this place. Old Bess knows dark magic always requires balance. The curse has been laid. The blood spilled today in the name of liberty will not be the last. As she walks away from the carnage, the spectral army that aided Washington remains. Unseen by the jubilant colonials, something lingers on the Trenton battlefield. An invisible army of vengeful ghosts waiting for a day of reckoning. The old witch whispers to the wind, a debt is owed. In 80-odd years, this young nation will drown in its own blood to pay it. Perhaps she has foreseen the distant thunder of another war, brother against brother, a civil war that will exact a ghastly payment for the freedom won here. George Washington's incredible victory at Trenton truly happened. A pivotal moment when a ragtag army defeated trained European soldiers against all odds. Historians credit Washington's leadership, courage, and a stroke of luck with the weather. They do not mention an enslaved woman or a conjured storm. Those belong to whispers beyond the veil. Yet one must wonder what unseen forces favor the bold in history's darkest hours. General Washington would go on to win the war and lead a new nation, never knowing what price his miracle victory might have demanded. The old woman vanished from camp and from record as if she had never existed. But some nights when snow falls on the Delaware, locals claim they hear faint chanting on the wind and see shadows moving among the trees. Freedom, it seems, never comes without a cost. In the end, a blood price was paid, perhaps in 1861, when a curse of civil war nearly tore the country asunder. Was it simply politics and slavery, or a witch's bill come due? History provides answers for many things, but for others we must look beyond the veil. If you crave the truth behind the curtain of time, hit that subscribe button and step beyond the veil. Like, comment, and share. Because history doesn't stay buried forever.